Bitcoin is close to becoming worthless.
Let's go. Now, what's the Bitcoin?
Bitcoin's like rat poison.
Yeah. Oh,
The greatest scam in history.
let's get it.
Bitcoin will go to fucking zero.
Yeah.
Alright, you ungovernable misfits. I'm your host, Max. Everybody knows that Bitcoin is useless, worthless, and doomed to fail. But what if everyone's wrong? What if it's the system that is doomed to fail? Join me as I speak to some of the brightest people in the space and slither to the deepest, darkest depths of the Bitcoin rabbit hole. Welcome back, everyone. Today's episode is with Bitcoin Q+A. It is nice to have him back. He was away last month. I had OpenOms kindly step up to the plate and fill in for him. And yeah, we're going to go through all of the Bitcoin monthly updates. If you want to click on the link in the show notes, you can go through it with us. And we don't cover absolutely everything on there. We sort of cherry pick a little bit. But yeah, great to have Bitcoin Q+A back. I really enjoyed recording with him. I always learn something new, and I really hope you enjoy listening to it. I just wanted to say to everyone who's reaching out and trying to send me sats on Sphinx and all the other podcasting apps, please don't do it for now, because I cannot get any of those sats. I can't access any of it. Usual thing, none of it is working. I did spend a few days on it and I just gave up in the end because I've got so much other stuff to get on with. Thank you so much for anyone who is sending them, but please don't. Save your sats for now, and I will get it up and running at some point, but I don't want you wasting them. As usual, if anyone has any questions after the show, please do reach out, let me know, and I'll help if I can. And yeah, let's just do a quick ad read. Thank you to CoinFloor for sponsoring the show. Anyone who is using CoinFloor now will also be able to use their new app. And if you are new to CoinFloor, if you're in the UK and looking to stack sats, you can do it weekly, monthly, or daily. And if you use the code in the show notes, you get 30% off your fees. I also want to say thank you to Crypto Cloaks. Crypto Cloaks are the new show sponsors. You probably already know them from Twitter. They make some amazing node cases that you can personalize, block mitts, and all kinds of special hiding places for hardware and bits and pieces like that. They are growing at a rapid rate. They are just one of the greatest companies that I've seen in this space, and a real proper Bitcoin only team. If you haven't checked them out already, go to cryptocloaks.com. Enjoy the show. Welcome back, mate. Nice to speak to you again. You've been a little bit elusive. Very, very busy man, it seems.
Back after the hiatus. I hope my replacement that I sent him was okay.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I was going to keep him. He was much, much better, but he wasn't so much of a fan of me, so we've got you back.
No, it was a good. I listened to it. It was a good rip, actually. I think I've got some competition from a. I think I need to stay on my toes.
Yeah, he's a really fucking good bloke, and it was nice because I got to chat to him when we went away as well. Got to know him a little bit more, and very, very down to earth man who is incredibly knowledgeable, and he's really started to push me towards looking at what he's doing with Join Inbox and everything like that. I know we've talked about it a few times, but have you actually jumped in and played with it at all yet?
No, I haven't, and I haven't really got many excuses other than time, to be honest with you, because I run a Raspberry Blitz and it's all packaged in there. Mm-hmm. Was he given a we should probably say who we're talking about, by the way, for everybody that doesn't know, because we're talking about OpenOms. Did he give a walkthrough when you went to the camping thing?
Yeah, so everyone else turns up to camping with tents, dogs, steaks, the usual charcoal for the barbecue.
Beers.
Beers. OpenOms turns up with 4 fully synced Raspberry Blitzes, a Bitcoin ATM that he's built himself, a little lightning Bitcoin ATM, and a presentation ready to talk us through Join Inbox.
Really? So how was he? What was he powering them off? What were they connected to? I'm intrigued.
God knows, that guy just works on a completely different frequency to me.
Did he have
All I can tell you is
like
it
a
worked.
generator in the back of his car or something?
Probably. I mean, I don't know how he was doing it, but it worked. And we all bought a few pennies worth of sats with his ATM that he'd set up. He had the 4 Raspberry Blitzes there, which we could all link up to. And then we worked on Join Inbox and did a couple of trial runs, and he showed us how it works. And, I have to say, it's pretty slick. It's pretty cool. It's definitely something I'd like to implement and use in conjunction with my Samurai stuff. And there's a lot of reasons that you would do it. And now that it's a bit more simple, I was really, really nervous about it. It just seemed like something that, how much I fuck up even just Samurai, which is fairly simple and usable. And so I was thinking, well, if I can fuck that up, there's no point in me even trying this. But it was really good. He did a full walkthrough, basically just went through the trade-offs and said, obviously, you should start as a taker. And then once you've been a taker, move into being a maker, leave your UTXO there and just have it so that you're continuously mixing and joining with other people, and you earn a few sats, but it's, it's not like anything that you should really be doing as any sort of business model, but it's at least free. Yeah, it was pretty simple stuff. And if you run a Raspberry Blitz, it's all built in. So same as you, time-wise, I just haven't actually got my arse into gear, but definitely worthwhile. Anyone who wants to check it out and they're running a Raspberry Blitz is worth having a play with.
So the interface for Join Inbox, does it look sort of similar to the command line menus that you have for the Raspberry Blitz?
Yeah, it's identical.
Cool. So what would you say, estimated time from sort of, obviously you've got your node up and running, you've installed Join Inbox. How long before you sort of get from that to having your first mix done?
Well, if you have OpenOms over your right shoulder, as I did, about 20 minutes.
Okay.
If you don't, I guess that varies, but it seems like unless you're a complete fuckwit, you'd have it up and running within at least an hour and you'd be mixing. And there was load of liquidity on there. It was I was surprised, there was people on there who had 400 or 500 Bitcoin just sat there ready to mix. And I was like, because I said to him, I thought
I'd taken those offline.
We're talking about Bitcoin, not sats.
Okay.
And I'm saving your OPSEC there. But yeah, no, I was surprised, mate. I was like, oh, is there going to be a problem with liquidity? Is this going to be an issue? And he just showed me. I was like, oh fuck, this is more than enough, more than you could ever use. And there's people just sat there all the time, so definitely worth trying.
Sweet.
And for some of those weird amounts, or if you have smaller amounts and you don't want to whack it through Samurai, if it's a little bit costly, or even if you've already been through and then it's what's it called? The
change?
Doxic change. Yeah, the Doxic change and things like that. I don't see why something like that couldn't be used.
Okay, interesting. You mentioned about his ATM, and I'm asking on behalf of everybody listening because I know it's the question that's on everybody's lips. Does OpenOms require KYC for that ATM?
He did, yes.
He did? You had to show your driving license?
Driver's license, passport, home address. It needed retina scan, and I won't go into the other details because it gets a bit kinky, but yeah.
COVID test?
There was full KYC.
He's a bad man.
And he really enjoyed it. So, yeah, just probably stay away from that service. But I bought a few sats. I bought £1.20 worth. I had of shrapnel in my backpack and sent that onto my wallet. Yeah, it was cool.
While we're being incredibly UK-centric, did you see the news this week about the Azteco, the Bitcoin vouchers that you can buy in Poundland? Yeah.
Yeah, tell me about it, because I saw it on the UK Samurai group, and I haven't like looked into it. So what is the score with it? Like, how does it work, and is there any drawbacks?
So basically, Azteco is a company that offers people they partner with various different stores around the world, and what it means for the the end buyer, if you're like me or you, is you walk in, you can hand over some cash, or you can pay by card. Obviously, I'd advise using cash because it's 10 times more private, and you can hand over and say, here's 100 quid. Can you give me £100 worth of Azteco vouchers? They'll punch it into their till, and they'll give you just a little sheet of paper with a voucher code on it. You punch that voucher code into their website, and then you can withdraw those sats to your own wallet, basically. So it's a really sort of low friction way to get your hands on some Bitcoin. And the kind of the big news here is that, certainly for UK people, is that they've partnered with Poundland, which has a store pretty much in every town and city in the UK. There's hundreds of them. So it's making no KYC Bitcoin really accessible to most people in the UK now. I will use the quick caveat that the KYC implications are passed. Azteco passes them onto the merchant who's selling the vouchers. I know that Poundland aren't asking for that at the moment. Whether that changes in the future, I don't know. But yeah, if you were to walk into Poundland, make sure you're safety first. You've got your COVID mask on, which has the added benefit of masking your face. You can walk
COVID
in with some
glasses as well, COVID cap.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. And the face shield as well. So you got the double protection. You can walk in with some cash and walk out with some sats that are not tied to your identity. So yeah, big win for the UK, definitely.
What's the limits on it? And is it in every store? Is it in every single Poundland across the UK?
Right. So as far as I'm aware, there's no limits. I think you have to buy in denominations of £25. But you can buy any number of those, basically. I've spoken to quite a few UK Bitcoiners, and it seems to be about a 75% hit rate, where they've walked in, gone to the till and asked for an Azteco Bitcoin voucher. They've got a funny look, and then the cashier's punched it into the till and gone, oh yeah, we do that. So about 75% of the people I've spoke to have been successful, and then 25% of them have basically been marched out of the place like they were a crazy person.
And what's the spread on them? Is it different to, like, Bitcoin ATMs are normally pretty heavy, like 8 to 15% in the UK on top of current market rate?
It's 10%. So it's
10%.
It's slap bang in that range, basically. Which people who are used to buying on Coinbase or Cash App or anything like that are going to sit there in their cars listening to this wincing now. But that's the price that you're going to have to pay for, easily accessible private sats, unfortunately.
Even if you go and you buy sort of semi KYC free, you go on like Bisq or something like that, you still probably want to put that through CoinJoin. You want to use something like Samurai after that. So once you've done that at 4 or 5%, and then you've gone through Samurai at whatever percentage that's going to be, it's going to be more if it's a smaller amount, and then you send that again, you have whatever network fees, you probably aren't far off that 10% anyway. And when you're going in with cash with a face mask and you're making sure you're fully COVID safe, then you probably are the best, most private you could possibly be. So 10%, I think, you're going to look back on that in years to come and go, fuck, I'm glad I did that.
Yeah, without a doubt. I can foresee the vast majority of my purchases now being done through Poundland. I can't believe I've just said that, to be honest with you. If you'd have asked me a year ago where I was going to be buying my Bitcoin from, I probably would have laughed at you if you'd have said Poundland. It's kind of a joke that I'm guessing only the UK people will.
It's the shittest. Yeah, it's the shittest place you could possibly go to. But luckily, I already do all my shopping there anyway, so it actually is quite efficient for me.
There you go.
Cool. Well, that's good. So anyone in the UK, go and check that out. I will be, for sure. And what do we got updates-wise We've got a long list here. I know that you've picked out a few that are particularly important.
Yeah, just run through the notable ones. It seems like just want to kick off. Seems like we always start with Blue Wallet, but the for those of you that haven't looked at the index, it's done in alphabetical order. So it's obviously the A's and B's are first. So just in case
Q&A is sponsored by them. He just doesn't
just in
tell
case
anyone.
Blue Wallet guys thought they were getting any preferential treatment, I'm afraid not. Yeah, so Blue Wallet, their latest release, they've added support for adding a passphrase when you're importing a wallet. So it's been a bit of a gripe of mine and many other Bitcoiners that if you use something like Samurai Wallet or any other wallet that you've added a passphrase to, you can't sort of import that into Blue Wallet. Well, you couldn't until now. So if you, let's say, you were using Electrum with a passphrase or something like that, and your Electrum client died or your Samurai wallet died or something like that, and you needed quick access to your sats, then now you can import that wallet and add the passphrase and be able to access your sats, if you're in a pinch and you need to send them off elsewhere. Key thing to note is it is for imports only, so you can't download Blue Wallet, create a new wallet within the app and then add a passphrase to it. It's for imports only. Next one, another cool one. Actually, I was playing with this yesterday. Coldcard update version 4.1.2. They've added the ability to basically all of the information that it provides, all of the key bits of information like transaction IDs or derived entropy from BIP85, which we may have talked about before, Max. If not, I can go into that.
Maybe do a quick overview. I know we have touched on that.
Yeah, so BIP85 is the ability for you to derive child seeds or basically extra seed phrases from your master seed phrase. So when you set up your Coldcard, obviously it will generate a seed phrase for you, or you can import your own or add your own via dice rolls. That's your master seed that you'll keep safe through the various methods that we've talked about, like encrypted backups or stamping it into metal. Probably advise that you do both. Where BIP85 comes in is that you can go into your Coldcard and say, right, I've got my master secret now and I want you to give me another one that's deterministically linked to my master secret, but only in a way that I know how to access it. So one of the good things, I'll use a sort of live example, is that if you've got a Coldcard, Max, and if you've got a girlfriend that she wants to get into Bitcoin, you could derive her a seed and give her that to put into her wallet. She could go and be, fill it up with Bitcoin, be completely reckless, lose it all, not back it up. She's going to be crying that she's lost all of her sats, and you go, well, because I've derived your seed from my master secret, I can recover that for you. So it's great for the Uncle Jim model. And just to tie it back into where this latest Coldcard update, so when you derive the child seed, it'll display it as a QR code now. So let's say, using your girlfriend as an example, if she had Blue Wallet and you wanted to generate a seed for her, you could just display that as a QR code on your Coldcard. She could scan it with Blue Wallet and it would just populate it all and do it all for her, basically. So
that's just very cool.
Yeah, pretty slick, and it'll show QR codes of transaction IDs and various other functions within the wallet, basically. So, and to be fair, we've talked about them a lot, but that was OpenOMS' idea, and he's the reason it got merged into Coldcard, actually. So shout out to him again.
Very cool. And so presumably you can do this with as many as you want. So you could say, if your entire family, right, jump onto Blue Wallet or one of these other ones, and you can derive the seed from your Coldcard, and for yourself presumably as well, so that you effectively just have one seed, and then you have all these, like, I don't know, what would you call them then, like child seeds?
Child seeds, yeah. So and the only thing that so let's say the family member that you gave it to completely lost it. All you need to remember is which index you used for your mum, your dad, your girlfriend, whoever. Now, if you're savvy about it and you just start from zero and work your way up, then you'd only have to try a few before you got to the seed that you needed if you're in a dire situation, if you get me.
And so it would be just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, you can set anywhere between 0 and 1,000, I think. But if it was me personally, I would start from the beginning, just so that if I was in a pinch in 10 years' time and I needed to recover a child seed using BIP85, then I'm going to use my common sense and start from 0. And it's not going to take me 10 years to get to the end and find what I need.
Okay. Yeah, that's really good. I mean, because me and you have talked about it before, where you kind of, one of the things that I love about Coldcard is that I know I've done my dice roll. I know that I've done my, or added to the entropy, and that makes me feel much more secure. So if you then carry that forward and you then use that for your Blue Wallet or whatever else you use, or for the rest of your family, you're going to feel much more secure than trusting somebody else or trusting that the entropy is sufficient rather than using your own. So I love that. I think that's really clever.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you say, the other bonus is that you don't have to trust a software wallet. So let's say you want to use a mobile wallet like Samurai, then if you don't want to trust the seed that they give you, you can give it your own, and you can use the one that's like you say, you've used your dice rolls and you've done it on a completely offline device. So you can be 99.99% certain that there's nothing sketchy going on there, and rather than Samurai telling you these are your 12 words, you can go, no, actually I'll use these 12 words instead, and it just removes another attack vector.
Like it.
Really good. So one we've not talked about before, Lily Wallet. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I heard a lot about it like 6 months ago at the same sort of time that Sparrow Wallet was coming out, and there was a lot of talk about Lily and Sparrow, and then I've heard nothing from Lily for a long time.
Yeah, so basically he's been Kevin Mulcrone, his name is. He's been sort of really quietly in the background building this out to build sort of a business model around it. It's, for those that don't know, it's basically a multi-sig coordinator wallet, very similar to Sparrow or Spectre. But he's kind of built like a pricing model around it, which comes with like various levels of support packages and things like that for those that don't want to fly solo with their own multi-sig, basically. So he's got a free tier where you can just do single sig, and then he goes up in steps then of a 2 or 3 multi-sig, 3 or 5, or a completely custom one, and the price increases with it. I think the main sort of selling point here is the support level, because obviously everything that I've just talked about, 2 or 3, 3 or 5, or 5 or 7 or anything, you can do that yourself for free on Spectre or Sparrow. So the kicker here is that he's sort of selling support as well as the software. So I've just thought I'd include it in there as one of the lesser known options, really. The pricing starts at $100 a year for the 2 or 3 multi-sig, and then it goes right up to $1,000 a year for what they call a custom vault, basically, which is anything up to 15 different keys in a multi-sig quorum.
Right, okay.
So yeah, you absolutely don't have to pay to do this yourself, but obviously it's this is geared towards those that fancy a little bit more support when they're doing it, and don't want to go down the route of, say, Casa or Unchained, where you share a key with them. It's collaborative custody, and they can sort of help you spend in the future.
So this is somewhere in the middle where there's no collaborative custody, but you have your hand held a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah. It's I think he's the way he's built it is that he knows nothing about you, and he knows nothing about your UTXO set, which is obviously one of the trade-offs of the collaborative custody model, is that whilst you can sign up to, I know you can with Casa, you can sign up anonymously. They still, because they're holding one of the keys in your multi-sig quorum, they can still see all of your UTXOs in the wallet. That's just the way that multi-sig works, unfortunately.
They can. I guess the only thing is that you could do something like you send it in from Postmix and you use an anonymous email, And then when you decide to come out, because a lot of people who are using that are going to be for long-term hold. If say like 2-3 years down the road, you go, oh, actually now I feel comfortable enough to set up my own multi-sig, you could then send that straight back through Whirlpool. And then on the other side, you put it into your own non-collaborative custody, one that you hold yourself. So in theory, you can still do it privately, as long as on the way out you make sure that you then break those links. Does that make sense?
It's absolutely possible to use, well, certainly Casa, I'm not sure on Unchained, to use it pseudonymously, from an identity perspective, definitely not from an on-chain perspective. But I don't know about you, Max, I'm thinking if I was to hazard a guess, I'd say probably 95% of customers of that type of product are doing it because
don't do that.
Because they don't really care that much about their privacy, and they just want to have their hand held because they don't have the time to understand this sort of shit, which is absolutely fine. And there's definitely, there's clearly a market for that type of product.
Yeah, I think I would agree. I think probably 95 or more % of people will not do any of that. But then it's just good to have that option and people to know. Like, I feel pretty secure with my single SIG personally. But if someone wants multi-SIG and it's someone like me who is inevitably going to fuck it up, but they do care, like someone like me, like who cares about privacy, but's just not very competent, then they can say, well, okay, well, I can manage to actually use this, and I can be comfortable in my security, and I can be pseudonymous. There is a market for that kind of little niche area of people, and then eventually we'll become competent enough that we'll be able to do it ourselves. So it's just good to for people to know that you can do that, I suppose.
Yeah, it's like we said before, a little bit of a middle ground where you are holding your keys, or a majority of your keys, so you are in custody of your sats, but you leave yourself vulnerable to this is all hypothetical, obviously, but you leave yourself vulnerable to sort of 6102 attacks, because at the end of the day, it's a regulated company that can be subpoenaed, or unrealized capital gains tax. We see that bandied around quite a lot. And if you've got your sats with a regulated entity, then you're going to be a bit of a sitting duck, really.
It's going to happen. Let's just be clear.
I think it's only a matter of time, especially with this the infrastructure bill that they're debating at the moment. I've tried to stay out of it, to be honest with you, but I think it's coming. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, this show, we don't go into all the macro stuff and all that kind of new stuff, but just logically, they're coming for your sats. And so that's why we all bang on so much about privacy, is that just if you look at the trajectory that we're on, they're coming for your sats, they're coming for your freedom. And so, if you can avoid using anything where you can be doxxed, avoid using anything where you can be 6102'd, do it. It doesn't mean that there isn't a time where there's this middle ground where things aren't quite perfect and you care about your security, because you might be in a place where it's really important. You might get robbed, you might have a gun put to your head, and you think, well, multi-sig actually makes a lot of sense for me. Then this is that middle ground, but we haven't got long. That is why we have to all be ready and sort of learning all the time, so that we get as much privacy as we can, as quickly as we can, and get them offline, and then shut your mouth and just hide.
So the TLDR for what Max just said then was, don't waste time calling your senator, focus on custody in your own sats.
Yeah, but also understand your limits and don't push past them. And it's very easy to just think, you listen to all the podcasts, and when I speak to people like you, or I speak to people who are really capable with this kind of stuff, it's very easy to be like, oh well, I'm just going to do a multi-sig setup, and I'm going to whack everything through Whirlpool, and then it's going to go through some other mixing service, and then it's going to do this, and you could so easily fuck yourself over. So I think it's more important to just make sure that you have custody of things and do things as privately as you can for now, but just never stop learning, because I don't know, I feel like we've got maybe another year, but I don't think it's much longer than that.
Yeah, I think it's definitely coming. I don't do time or price predictions or anything like that, but yeah, I'm leaning towards it. You're being bang on there, to be honest. Speaking of self-custody, the next update from Seed Signer, I'm starting to really, really love this project. I know you had them on 21ism last in July, was it?
It's just gone live on the 5th of this month.
Yeah, so this project's been getting quite a lot of press lately, and for good reason. For the uninitiated, it's essentially a DIY hardware wallet, or sign-in device that you can build from a Raspberry Pi Zero. The update that these guys have released, is that they've now added single sig wallet support, and additionally BIP39 passphrase support as well. So when they first released it, it was just a multi-sig wallet signer, and they've I'm in the Telegram chat, and there's people asking quite regularly for single sig support. So it's a really great way to sort of get your hands on some cold storage in a way that doesn't doesn't expose you to risk from sort of supply chain attacks, where, if you're buying a known hardware wallet like a Coldcard or a Ledger or something like that, if somebody sees that that's going to your house, then obviously they're going to know that you're a Bitcoiner, and that might sort of not be within your threat model, if you like. Whereas devices like Seed Signer are built from unassuming hardware that has an unlimited amount of uses, from anything from building your own mini computer to a hardware wallet to a gaming device, anything like that. So this is definitely one to keep an eye on. What's your thoughts on it? Have you had a chance to build on yet?
No, but our mutual friend has just sent me the 3D printed case for it. So I have that's arrived about 5 days ago. I'm yet to order the rest of the hardware, but I'm definitely going to. And in terms of the project, I love the direction that they're going. I've had the pleasure of speaking to Seed Signer a couple of times now. Really, really switched on. I like the fact that there's less chance of this man-in-the-middle attack. I like the fact that if anyone out there is listening now and they're smart and they haven't run around to all their friends talking about Bitcoin incessantly for like a year or two and doxed themselves and then gone on Bitcoin Twitter and started a podcast so that everyone knows who they are, then shut the fuck up and don't order anything with your name and address and build one of these things. I love that. I love that someone can just literally go to Poundland and every day go and buy sats and then build one of these things from parts that could be off the shelf. No one knows what you're building, and then just keep quiet and no one knows you have those sats. And to me, that is I feel like that's the future. I really feel like that's the future.
Yeah, definitely. It's obviously not one for somebody who's just entering the space, really, because it's a little bit of a DIY. Well, it is a DIY build, and you might get off put by the sort of parts list. It's nowhere near as hard as it looks, but yeah, it's one to get your teeth into if you've got a weekend to yourself or something and you want to have a play around.
But do you think it's that hard? Like, I know when you're sort of coming in, you have the stress of, oh, well, what if I fuck something up? But with the quality of content and like the guides that you're doing, and so many different people are just like piling in with videos and walkthroughs, do you and with the Telegram channel being there, do you think that if someone said, oh, well, I'm just going to stack as much as I can at Poundland for the next 6 months, and then, maybe they use Samurai Wallet on a Pixel 3 or something like that until then, which is fairly secure. And then once they get to this, they're uncomfortable about the amount they have on there, then they could build one of these. Do you think if a normal person cleared a full weekend, that it's really going to be that much of a challenge for them, given the amount of content out there?
So long as they know where to look, and I think one thing that I try and remember is that not everybody, most people that enter this, get into Bitcoin are not on Bitcoin Twitter, so they don't see what we expose ourselves to every day, and the content and the conversation and things like that. They don't see that. I'll give you an example. I was doing one of my sport calls last week and had a bit of a slap in the face and a drop back down to reality. And obviously I'm not going to name any names as to who it was. And this absolutely isn't to sort of throw any shade at them, but it really made me realize how simple things can trip people up. And when you're entering the spaces,
Was it Catan?
It was Catania. You know, he's fucking useless.
Such a basic bloke, isn't he?
I was helping this person, and we couldn't figure out why their node wasn't running. And what they, rather than putting an Ethernet cable into the back of their node, they put a phone cable in, and just something that might seem really, really trivial to you or I, or to anybody that's been that's familiar with computing or that's been in the space for a little bit of time, might laugh at that, but that's the level of knowledge that some people have when they come into the space, and it's really, when you've been in for a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, it's difficult to not get completely out of touch with how simple some things need to be, and how much hand holding people need when they're coming into the space.
That's true. Yeah,
so there's definitely a market for the DIY stuff. But is it going to go mass adoption anytime soon? Definitely not. But that's just, using the example of that person that I've just said, a supply chain attack from a hardware wallet manufacturer isn't even on their radar, is it? They're not even thinking about that sort of stuff.
That's true. Yeah, very true.
I've skipped one on the list. I missed out the Passport, the foundation device's Passport device, another air-gapped hardware wallet, and they've just fixed their integration with Blue Wallet to the new QR versions. I was playing with this again last week, I think. It's a really, really slick pairing, Blue Wallet and Passport, done with QR codes and just obviously your mobile phone.
There's a few good guides out there on this, actually.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a couple in this month's index as well. We're jumping ahead a little bit, but BTC Sessions done obviously a great video guide, and I've released a written one as well. You've got a Passport, haven't you, Max? Is this going to be one of them things that you say, yeah, I haven't got around to it yet?
I honestly, genuinely was reading through your guide last night, and it came out the box for the first time last night. It sat for about 2.5 weeks on my bedside table and literally not even been opened. But I took it out the box yesterday. A few things to note were, firstly, it's really, really fucking nice.
Isn't it just?
Oh my God. I was really actually down because I took it out and I was playing with it, and I was like blown away by this thing. And I passed it over to my missus and I went, oh my God, feel this. This is amazing. We're going places now. Bitcoin's taking off. This is fucking unreal. And she went, it's a bit top heavy. It's not that good. And I was like, oh, that's like a normie's view. But to me, if I compare that to any other hardware that is out at the moment, it looked slick. It was weighty. It had that magnetic back that just like clicks into place.
I'm playing with it right now. I've got one in my hand. It's really satisfying just clipping that back on, isn't it?
It's really nice, and I like that it has the AAA batteries. Once I fired it up, because I was expecting it to be bigger than it is, because I was like, I had in my head, Nokia phone. You're thinking, like a 3310 or whatever, but it's actually pretty small. And it feels quality in your hand. And no, I haven't set it up yet because I don't want to dox myself, but as you know, I'm all over the place at the moment. But it does feel like that. It feels like it would be the one that I'd want to reach for my everyday use, if that makes sense. Like maybe it doesn't have the full functionality that the Coldcard has, or yet anyway. And maybe I'd have that as my like proper deep cold storage. But then this maybe I'd use as my everyday device just because I want to use it every day because it's really, really fucking nice.
Yeah, it's just a nice device to sort of have in your hand and play around with. I've been really, really impressed with it, actually. I also think I've seen on Twitter over the course of the last few weeks as well, the guys at Crypto Cloaks, sponsor of the pod, I think they're creating some cases for the back as well
Oh,
that you can
really?
buy. Yeah, but I'm sure I've seen that somewhere. I'll try and find the tweet and send it you afterwards. But I'm pretty sure they're
Cool.
working on replaceable cases. It's like going back to the 90s when you've got your
The
Nokia
Nokias.
brick and you're going down to the phone shop on a Saturday afternoon.
I love it. Yeah, it is a lovely device, and like I say, I was going through your guide, so I've only got as far as like checking the full words as you scan a QR code, and then it will come up with full words, and you just basically make sure that it hasn't been intercepted and played around with, so that you make sure that you're not getting phished or hacked or whatever. But yeah, I think this is something that I could realistically give to almost anyone, and they'd work it out. They'd have your guide and that, and within an afternoon, they'd be up and running. I can't see any reason why they wouldn't.
No, I agree. I tell you one feature that's really nice on it as well is that when you obviously you go through the usual process, you set up your seed phrase, so then you've got the wallet set up, you're ready to go. When you then sort of, let's say you want to export the watch only version, so you can sort of use Blue Wallet as an interface. You do it all through QR code. It's really slick. After it's imported into Blue Wallet, it'll tell you to go onto Blue Wallet and generate a receive address for it. And then it wants to scan it itself with the camera that's on the device so that it can verify that Blue Wallet is acting in good faith and doing what it should be. Really cool. And it's really easy. Like I say, it's got a camera on board, and obviously Blue Wallet just displays a QR code for a receiving address, and it just says, just let me scan that just to check that everything's going okay. And I presume it does exactly the same thing with Sparrow or Spectre as well.
Yeah, I like it. It seems as though it like sort of fits a little part of the market that just wasn't filled yet. There just was nothing that was quite up there in terms of product design and quality feel and usability, and this kind of just fits there. You know, you can imagine you speak to some of these people who are from like legacy banking, or they're like chucking like fortunes in here, and you're like, oh yeah, go and use this. Well, not that you'd ever suggest a ledger, but you're like, okay, go and use this Coldcard, and they're like, what's like, as great as it is, it doesn't have that quality feel, and it's not that usable. And they'll pick this thing up and they'll just go, yeah, no, this is cool. I'm part of the future.
It's got that not in terms of looks, but in terms of like feel and usability. It's got that iPhone feel to it, I think.
Yeah, it does. It's got and also the packaging and everything when you open it up, and the weighting and
That's
the box.
very iPhone, isn't it?
It's Apple, very much.
Yeah, sorry, Apple. Yeah.
But yeah, I know I haven't set it up is the answer, and also the Bitbox, which I've been sent out kindly. I haven't set that up either, or anything that I'm supposed to do, or I haven't set up the Spectre DIY. I haven't built that either.
Oh, you got one of them?
I've got the case, which I've been sent out, but I haven't got any of the other parts. And yeah, basically I've broken all my nodes again. Can't get any of my funds off Samurai again. New laptop hasn't arrived, and yeah, just in a typical mess. And not.
I think you need to lock yourself in your bedroom for a couple of weeks.
I don't know what I need, mate. I need a fucking bullet in my head, I think. What else have we got on the list?
Yeah, so we were talking earlier about leaking privacy if you're using collaborative custody with like Casa or Unchained or something like that. Michael Flaxman, who did that really epic 10x security guide, which is basically a DIY multi-sig guide way back when, I think it was over a year ago now. He's come up with a new proposal, I think, or a new sort of scheme. Basically, it's called Blind Xpub, and it's really quite technical. So, as I always say, I'm not going to get too much into the weeds because I'll just make myself sound like a complete oaf. But essentially, it's a way that you can give a custodian one of your keys, but with the key that you give them, they cannot see all of the funds that are controlled by that 2 or 3 or that 3 or 5 wallet. So if this is widely implemented, especially in like the collaborative custody space, this could be quite big for privacy. There's basically sort of an additional secret that you don't give the custodian, so they have the ability to spend, but only if you give them the sort of this extra little secret, if you like. So the way it would work is you could say, give Casa your third key, but not tell them this little extra secret that's defined in Flaxman's sort of proposal. You could give the extra little secret to a lawyer, and then the two would have to collude to be able to get to the position that we're in now in terms of collaborative custody, so that they could see all of your funds, if that makes sense.
That's really cool.
And I believe it doesn't require any. This isn't sort of a change to any anything at the protocol level. It's, you could. This is live and usable now. If people have the sort of know-how to do it.
Okay.
So it could be a big one in terms of privacy for multi-sig, definitely. Right, next one is Bolt 12. Have you heard much about Bolt 12?
Nope.
It's essentially a proposal from Rusty Russell, who works for...
hold on. Sorry, I think I have. Is this the thing where you can get sent tips and it's kind of semi-anonymous and you can do it? So like if you can have a QR code that's like static, but it changes, it's just like not static sort of thing?
Yeah, think of it like Lightning Invoices version 2, where you can do a lot more with them. Things like streaming sats. Now, I know you can do that now, but the way it currently works is with key send, and that's a bit of a sort of hacky roundabout way to do it. This is sort of at the protocol level, so you could stream sats, or you could offer a business that runs on a subscription model, and people could use a Bolt 12 invoice to sort of debit their account 10,000 sats every week or every month or whatever. That's one of the sort of things that Bolt 12 implements. There's loads of other things as well, but the sort of recurring payments piece is one of the bigger ones. They also propose what's called blinded paths. So this is where the sender doesn't know where a message, or in terms of Lightning, a payment is going. So a good bit of increase from a privacy perspective on the Lightning front. The Bolt 12 is currently at proposal stage. So I think it was first posted September last year, but it's only implemented into C Lightning at the moment. So all of the common Lightning packages, Umbrel, MyNode, etc., they all run
LND.
on LND, so they won't have access to this yet. So essentially, it's not been sort of widely implemented across the whole of the Lightning network, if you like, but definitely want to keep an eye on. Sort of Lightning Invoices 2.0, if you like. But the sort of use cases that it could create are quite massive, to be honest.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Next one, new release. This isn't a software update. This one is Greenlight by Blockstream. The sort of TLDR on this is it's a Lightning network in the cloud, which isn't really sort of when I say in the cloud, it's hosted by Blockstream. The sort of interesting part here is that normally if you've got, let's say you spin up a Lightning node on a virtual private server, the keys for that Lightning node and consequently the ability to spend from using that Lightning node are, you might have access to them on your phone, but the key is also held on that virtual private server. So whoever's hosting that, in theory, depending on the level of security that you've got, might be able to access those keys, and you've got hot funds at risk, if that makes sense. What Blockstream have done with this new proposal is that the keys are only on the end user's phone, so that it's kind of the best of both worlds for somebody who's, say, living a nomadic lifestyle who wants to use Lightning. They could use Greenlight from Blockstream where the node is run on their behalf, so they don't have to worry about uptime. They don't have to worry about those horrible little Raspberry Pis that cause you a lot of pain, Max. But they're always in control of the keys that would ordinarily be on the server itself that they're not in control of. Obviously, because this is so new, they're not. I think they're rolling it out as a bit of a beta, and they're not actually charging for it at first. They will be obviously charging long term. They haven't alluded to how much it's going to be, but it's kind of a nice proposal. We'll see how it sort of pans out in terms of usability, but it's nice a nice option that you can have reliable uptime from a server that you don't control, but the keys and the spend ability remains yours and yours only.
Nice.
Next one, Phoenix. Have you used Phoenix much, Max? The wallet.
I've not. No, I've not. I've never used Phoenix. I've gone more for Zeus. It's either Zeus or Blue or Satoshi Wallet of Satoshi. They're the three that I've really used. But I know a lot of people.
I can hear everybody gasping. They're custodial, Max.
Well, not all of them. Zeus isn't.
Oh no, Zeus isn't. No, I apologise.
Zeus isn't, and I know Blue, but I only ever do tiny amounts, and I know it's bad, but the thing is that I do break nodes constantly. And you know how much time I've wasted. It's like the reason that I don't get any life is just because I constantly fucking break these things and trying to fix these things. And, if I'm spending $10 or $20 here and there and just fucking around with it, I know it's custodial. I know that, but really, if I lose it, I'm probably not going to change your life, is it? Yeah. No, it's not. But I tell you what does change my life. Agree. What does change my life is wasting 10 to 20 hours fucking around with a node that's gone down for the 10th time and I can't fix, and I just want to throw myself out of a window. And I'm thinking, or I could just have this $10 on a custodial wallet, and I'll do that. And I know it's not the perfect thing to do, but life's not always perfect. But if I did anything serious, I'd use Zeus. If I had any serious funds on there, I'd use Zeus.
Yeah, completely agree. If it's small amounts, it's not going to change your life, and you value your time more, then why not? But yeah, going back to Phoenix, they have released a Apple version of iOS version, of the wallet. So previously, until last month, it's been Android only. So all of you Apple fanboys can now have access to Phoenix wallet.
You can run it as well now, then, mate.
Say again.
You can run it as well now, then, mate.
Don't tar me with that brush, man. Going on to some education pieces to cap it off. Diverter, the main influencer in the space, he's come up with, he's created a mix. Let's Mix and Chill, it's called, which is a guide for the Samurai Wallet guys' new tool, which basically is mixed to Xpub, or essentially sends straight to cold storage from Whirlpool. So to break that down a little bit, the Samurai team have implemented this tool called Mix to Xpub, where you can go into it's command line only at the moment, as is always the way with new software. They build it out for the tech savvy first, and then they build a graphical user interface around it. So you can go into the command line tool and say, okay, here's my post-mix wallet. This is where I want to do all my remixing. But after this many remixes, I want you to start siphoning those post-mix UTXOs off to the addresses controlled by this Xpub. And that could be an Xpub from your Coldcard, your passport, your seed signer, or an offline Samurai wallet, a separate wallet. So essentially, once you've sort of set it up, it'll do that on your behalf, basically. So it'll know that after a predetermined amount of remixes, I need to send that UTXO. The next mix it does, rather than going back into my post-mix wallet, I'm going to send it to that address, which is controlled by Max's Coldcard or whatever. Which, number one, is going to cost you less in transaction fees because remixes are free. So if you can remix and then send to cold storage, then you're saving on fees. The main benefit is that currently, if you want to mix, then get some remixes and then send off to cold storage. If you're doing single UTXO spends, rather than it being a 1 million sat UTXO, which is sat in your postmix wallet because they're all equal outputs. That's the whole point of the coin join process. It then becomes just slightly less than 1 million because of the minor fees that are taken out of that transaction, if that makes sense. So you don't lose that round amount. Anybody looking on chain at that UTXO that's just landed into your Coldcard or your cold storage, it's still identical to every other postmix UTXO. So you are still hiding in that massive crowd of. In fact, we didn't talk about it, did we? We should talk about it. Have you seen the unspent Whirlpool unspent capacity?
It's really fucking growing.
I'm just going to check it now.
It's like 4,000 and something.
4,048 Bitcoin, or $177 million of equal outputs incredible. That are sat there, on the blockchain, all looking identical. Really, really, really good to see.
That's great.
And any questions on that piece that Diverter did, or did I sort of cover it off? Okay.
My only question on that would be, does it take fees into consideration for sending off? Can you set like a sat per byte limit so that you're not suddenly going into a high fee environment when things are coming off?
When it's doing the automatic send to cold storage, you don't pay any fees.
That's okay.
So because you pay for your initial mix and then you're remixing. So let's say I go into this tool and I say, right, after 7 remixes, send to this Xpub. So on the 7th mix, it's still a remix, so I'm not paying anything. The fees are covered by new people entering the pool. Rather than that mix, the address on the output side of that mix going into post mix, it just goes to my cold storage wallet instead. So I'm not paying anything for it.
Right. Okay. I'm with you. Yeah, that's really fucking cool. And so do we have any sort of timeline? You said this is more for the tech savvy and it's command line. Any sort of vague timeline of when this might be implemented so that normal people can use it?
None whatsoever. I'm afraid there's no sort of inkling. I would imagine you're looking at a good couple of months at least. Generally, these, like I say, these things are thrown into the command line first for people to test out, and then they'll go into sort of building the graphical user interface around it, which I'm sure is obviously the more technical bit of it. So, and then you've got to test it and quality assure it. So I wouldn't hold your breath for anything, in the next month or two, to be honest.
But that's brilliant. I know I really, really like that because it takes away a lot of that stress, and it's what, most people are going to be doing anyway, is they have a certain number in mind of, I want this amount of remixes and then I want to send to cold storage, and to have that automated and to save that extra hop. Massive. That's really cool. Yeah, really cool.
And that unspent capacity, when this tool is implemented, as a easy to access graphical tool, that unspent capacity is just going to explode because, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that 90% of people are probably doing like 3 or 4 mixes and then they're sending to cold storage, which is fine. I get that, but when they're doing that, they're losing that round amount, so that they're sending off different amounts, so that sort of isn't additive to the unspent capacity because it doesn't look the same as all of the 1 million sat UTXOs or the 5 million sat UTXOs, etc. If people are using this tool and they're sending straight to cold storage, we don't know that they're not. We have no idea where they are. Are they in post mix? Are they in maxes? Coldcard. It's that number's just going to explode.
And it's UTXO by UTXO, which is all equal output. So when they send, it will be whatever it is, 0.05 or whatever the amounts are. It will then send directly to the cold storage as that, rather than you're combining the UTXOs to send out as one payment to your cold storage, which is then obvious on chain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's massive.
Huge, yeah. I mean, you've still got to worry about your spending habits further down the line as well. If you're sending off using this tool to send off a load of 1 million sat UTXOs one by one to new addresses, obviously they can't be tied together. But if in 12 months,
Then
5
you
years,
merge
10 years
them.
time, you need to make a big purchase and then you merge them, then you're showing common ownership. So it's kind of
Yeah.
something to consider.
But with labeling and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah,
then,
definitely. Definitely.
yeah, that's really cool. I look forward to playing with that in sort of 6 months or whenever it's sort of a bit more available for someone like me.
Right, last two pieces. I think we touched on this earlier, but Ben from BTC Sessions has done a full. I've just seen how long it is. It's an hour-long guide on using the passport device.
Wow.
So he runs through everything from setting it up to using it offline. Really top-notch quality video, as is always the case with Ben's. But yeah, it's if you've got a spare hour to sit down and watch that one, probably worth checking out. And last but not least, Econo Alchemist, the Guide King, has written a piece called Bullish on Bitcoin Home Miners that I just wanted to highlight to everyone, really. Obviously, him and Diverter are well known for their mine at home guides and how you can get started with getting a miner plugged in at home. Econo has done a sort of, now that he's sort of done it for 12 months or so, he's done a bit of a drains up approach of why this is a good thing. And he's also done some modelling on how profitable it can be at various kilowatt hour rates, and also compares it to various DCA strategies as well. So just one worth checking out. As is always the case with Diverter stuff, it's very comprehensive. You're looking at a 10-15 minute read at least, but really, really in depth and really valuable for somebody who's who's on the fence about plugging in a miner. There seems to be again a bit of an explosion of home miners. It feels like every day I've logging into Twitter and there's a new NIM there that's just plugged in a few S9s and stuff. It's really, really, really good to see.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I don't know whether some of it was because of this exodus from China or what it is really, but it feels like the tides are shifting a little bit. And I don't know if you listened to Citadel Dispatch with the kind of Alchemist and Diverter and who was the other guy they had on there?
It was Ronin Miner.
That's it, Ronin Miner. That was really interesting, and they went into a lot of real detail on what their setups are and where they're getting the miners from and all that kind of stuff. And it's just nice to see more people starting to mine at home. And in terms of DCA, it does seem this is a much, much better strategy. It decentralizes things more. It's KYC free, like properly KYC free, done correctly. There's a lot to be said for it. I haven't read through the Econo Alchemist's guide yet, but it still feels like in the UK, with the amount that we're paying for our energy, unless you're nicking it, it doesn't really seem viable.
I wonder if
me.
Poundland sell electricity. That'd be good. But yeah, completely agree. I was looking at my electricity bill the other day and thinking there's absolutely no way at those sort of electricity prices I would even come close to, because I would do it at a loss if it meant I could get some private sats. I would do it up to like a 10, 15, 20% loss.
Yeah.
But I did some very quick fag packet math, and it's not even, I wouldn't even get close to that.
No. It's way too far away for people in the UK or Europe. It's just not possible. And then, if you can go to Poundland for 10%, you also don't have the added stress of getting a certified electrician in to make sure that you don't blow yourself up. I've run an S17 in a studio flat, and I can tell you that will break any relationship, and it will break your soul. It is so loud and it is so hot. And that was an S17. I'm sure the 19s and the M32Ss and all those things are even louder and even hotter. And why are you going to have a 30% loss and have all of that stress when you can have it for 10% and buying cash. Like, it, as nice as it sounds, it just doesn't quite make sense yet. But I'm sure there's a workaround. I'm sure that like Brits can band together and we can find cheap energy, like stranded energy from solar, where they're paying back into the grid and they get very, very shitty rates in the UK, and that's bought up. But, you know, you'd need to sort of band in together and get a shipping container or something like that. But there'll be a way around it. But just plugging them in at home, I think it's not possible here.
Yeah, when you started to say before about needing to get a electrician, I thought you were going to say needing to get a divorce, because I think that'd be
you'd do that as
exactly
well.
what would happen to me if I plugged one in at home.
Have you been up close to one?
Never, not once.
Fuck me. So I bought two about 2.5 years ago or something like that, whenever the S17 Pros came out, and I was like, I'll just give this a go, and, you know, plugged them in, had them whirring away, you know, standard stuff. I couldn't join on to Antpool, couldn't get anything to work. Fucked around for about a month, didn't work, sent them back in the end. It was, honestly, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be like a fan on full, you know. I was like, that's what it's going to be like. It's going to be really loud and annoying, but, you know, I can cope with that. It was like, it was unbearable, actually. It was unbearable. You could not operate. You could not think.
Really?
You certainly couldn't sleep. I mean, we were in a studio flat at the time, but fuck me. It would definitely cause a divorce, even in a house. Like, if you had that in, you know, a spare bedroom and you're downstairs or even in the garden, you're still hearing it.
Really?
Yeah, it's like proper. It's like someone screaming just non-stop, like right into your ear. It's that loud.
Do you, obviously don't give any names away, do you know anybody that mines in the UK?
I know a few people who mine, but it's like shitcoins and Monero and all that
Oh, really?
sort of stuff.
So
Yeah,
GPU stuff, not
GPU
ASICs?
stuff. No, I don't know anyone who mines in the UK. I know people who are in the UK and they mine, but they have their miners hosted abroad.
I was just about to say, what do you think about these companies like Compass Mining and things like that?
Yeah, I bought a couple, if I'm honest.
Oh,
I know it's
really?
not ideal. Yeah, I know it's not ideal.
Fuck. Right,
Yeah.
walk us through it then. Tell us what you can.
You can buy at the moment S19 Pros 100 terawatt hours for about $7,300.
So for the layman, is that like the latest model, or is that a couple of years old? Or?
No, it's like the latest 100 terawatt hours. So it's like the most powerful, or at least I believe to be the most powerful ones on the market. They will, in like today's term, mine you about $25 to $30 worth of Bitcoin a day. You can buy them for about $7,300, and you will pay, I think it's like 60 cents a kilowatt hour.
6, you mean? Not 60, hopefully.
6,
you won't be very profitable if it's 60.
Yeah. I've just done a big pub lunch and a bottle of wine. It's 6 cents kilowatt hour, which, you know, in comparison to the UK, I don't know what we pay here, like 20 pence or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, you're talking about a quarter, and that's it. You literally just, you have them set up, you have them hosted. There's a few different hosting facilities. You can either do it on credit card. So if you can get cheap credit or loans, then you can do that, and you're sort of speculative attacking, but on a much smaller level than someone like Sailor's doing. You get your 0% for 24 months, put one of these online, and then you pay about $150 a month to host it, and the sats just stream into whichever wallet you give them, and that's it. You don't have to do anything. I mean, it's not, the trade-off is it's not fully KYC free, obviously, because you can give a fake name and you can do all that sort of stuff, or you could do it through, like, you could do a separate company, like an FX company that you use, who will then pay them, and it will be that FX company as they're like the intermediary, and they don't actually then have all your details. But if there's any sort of subpoena or any sort of reason why any agency wants anything, they will get it. So, you know, they're going to get your name. If they want your name, they're getting it. That's just to be realistic.
So,
but
Do you actually own the hardware then?
Yes.
So if they go under, or if you decide that you don't want your miner with them, what happens then? How do you approach that?
You can move them. So you buy the hardware, you get all of the serial number and all that kind of stuff of the hardware. They host it for you. And if for any reason you say, do you know what, I want to move it to another hosting facility, or I want to do this myself because suddenly, you get access to cheap electric, you can do that. You contact them. You have to pay for the shipping and all that sort of stuff, obviously. But yeah, you own the hardware.
And are you tied into sort of, do you have to like rent space for like a minimum amount of time as well?
I think I signed for a year and then it just rolls. But, it's not perfect, and there are probably better ways to do it. You can probably reach out to someone in the Bitcoin community who has access to cheaper electric, and you can probably host with them, and maybe you could get it slightly cheaper per kilowatt hour, possibly, and maybe it would be a little bit less KYC because you could pay them in Bitcoin and you could use a NIM and all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's probably not going to be a lot cheaper, and you don't have so much security because someone can go away very quickly or go under very quickly, whereas one of these bigger things like Compass is probably a bit less likely. So it's all trade-offs. The reason I did it is I just wanted to fuck around with it. I was just like, I just want to sort of give it a go, because I tried with those S17s and like I say, as usual, just wasted a load of time and just fucked it up and sent them back. But what was interesting was that the miners that I bought then, the S17s, like 2.5 years ago, I paid about 1,500 quid a miner or something. They're worth more than that now. And yeah. I mean, some of these things, they go up with the value of Bitcoin. So some of these miners, you could pick up for nothing, and now they're worth a few hundred quid, or you could pick them up for 1,500 quid, and now they're worth 5,000. And so the value of these things can go up. So when the value of the miners dropped in half or close to it, I thought, well, why don't I buy one and just give it a go and just see? And it's a way of me just stacking sats daily.
Can you choose what pool you point your hash at as well, or do you have to go with whatever?
Yeah, you can choose.
Oh, right, okay. Who are you mining with? Slush?
Yeah, you can choose. I haven't started yet. I have to wait another... It's like another month or like 20 days or something like that. That's one of the things that they get you on, is like you pay up front, but you wait a little bit.
Right.
So I don't know whether it's that they're actually waiting for the shipping, or is it actually that they're plugging it in and they're not telling you? I mean, I'm not sort of like saying that they're doing that. I'm just saying I don't know. But, you have to take these trade-offs. So I'm just giving it a go. You can choose, like you say, you own the hardware. You can choose where you mine. And it's not the perfect setup by any means. But for people in the UK, it's not the worst. I think it's better than like a lot of these dollar cost averaging services, or things that a lot of people will say, oh, that's the best way to do it, because it's a little bit less KYC. And it's cheaper, like as long as the hash rate doesn't go absolutely fucking crazy in the next year, which it could do, you're going to be buying your Bitcoin a lot cheaper.
Interesting. Okay, thanks for the insight there. I just before we wrap up, I just wanted to give a shout out to a couple of Bitcoiners that have translated my Q&A page, bitcoiner.guide/Q&A. At Magnificent BTC did it in Italian for me, and at Arabic Hoddle did it in, well, Arabic? You can guess. Yeah, exactly. They obviously there's like 10 pages just to that sort of section of the website, so they've clearly spent a lot of time to do that. So I just wanted to sort of publicly say thank you to the both of them.
Cool, very nice. Any other mentions before we wrap it up? Anything else?
I think we've covered everything on my shortlist, Max.
Cool. All right, mate. Well, always a pleasure speaking to you, and I look forward to next month. Hopefully you join me for that one. To anyone listening who has any questions about anything we talked about, you can always reach out, and I will try and answer as best I can. And yeah, speak to you next month, mate.
See you next time, Max.